All right. Good evening, Philippines. Good morning, U.S. We'll give this a try. We'll see how our internet's working here. It's been kind of hit or miss lately, especially at this time of night. I don't know, man. Kind of like, I don't know if I got sick or something or what. I was like sleeping all day, but I was also a bad boy. I stood up all night watching football and the Patriots lost. Hey, I know how the Patriots fan feel. I'm from the Northeast, and they've had a great run. They've had 20 years, but it was, so upset. Basically, they've won for 20 years. They've won. They're like one of the greatest dynasties. You can see being upset when you lose, but geez, they take it to a new level. Let's do the Bill Belichick face. It's like he never won before. I mean, geez. I used to love Belichick with Cleveland. I thought they had he had a great run in Cleveland. I don't know why they fired him in Cleveland. Then he went to, back to the Jets. Then he went up to New England. I don't know why. I understand losing, but geez, when you've won so much, geez, it's, I don't know. Not shaking hands sometimes, running off the field. Come on. I could see if that was your last chance. I just don't. I don't understand sometimes why the Patriot, some of the Brady and Belichick just. Why they get so upset? It's just like you've won so much. Aren't you like grateful that you won so much? Look, the Giants only won two Super Bowls. I'm a Giant fan, and I feel lucky with that. Especially since they beat the Patriots twice. But I thought I would feel more of a sense of glee or whatever, because after a while, especially in America, you begin to hate the winners, the teams that win over and over and over again, especially me. And even Eric Dickerson came out the other day and said he hated the Cowboys, and he was from Texas. I used to love the Patriots when they first came out because, I don't think the Patriots have won for 20 years, but before that, dude, they were like the laughing stock of the NFL. Grogan, these other guys that, they were a good team. They had lots of support, but they could never seem to win anything. I remember when I went to the Super Bowl when they played the Bears. I forget what year that was, at 80. Well, actually, we didn't go to the Super Bowl. We went to the Jet playoff game, and they beat the Jets in the playoffs. And they went on to play the Bears, and they got crushed. But it was like I love the underdog, and I really thought that was a great team as well. And Parcells went up to New England, I guess, and brought Belichick in there, but. They started winning. Before they weren't really considered a winning team or anything. And then they got this, this reputation and trademark almost right now. I would say it's almost as great as the Yankees, although not, you really don't kind of get why, I understand why they're upset. And I've had a great run, and I didn't get hit by him behind that line in the scheme. Understand why he wants to continue and keep going and going and going. It's just time to give it up and do something else. That's just my opinion. I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to go out to San Diego. No, that this is over with. There's a rift between between Brady and Belichick, and between McDaniel and Check. Like the one time they Antonio Brown. No, we're not going to get Antonio Brown. We're not going to get Antonio Brown. He's not going to listen. He's not. I'm the boss. I'm the boss. I'm the boss. And I think Brady and the other guys after 20 years are kind of like, dude, come on, loosen up. We want to win a championship. And I think Bill put the kibosh on that whole thing with Antonio Brown. Even him coming back, I think he nixed it. He said, rather lose than have a guy ruin my team, which is okay. That's his choice, but I think everyone else is just kind of like fed up with Bill, and Bill, they all look kind of like they're tired of each other and they want to move on. But I mean, it's the end. I mean, I don't know. I think Belichick is upset because kind of like with the Brett Favre situation, when Brett stayed too long and Aaron Rodgers was sitting behind him, what, it kind of ruined Aaron Rodgers would have like at least one more year on his deal, but the Green Bay Packers wouldn't trade him to anybody else. And I remember Mike Holmgren was like, dude, just let him go where he wants to go. Who cares, But, they didn't want to do that. And it's the same thing with Brady. I mean, honestly, I think he should go to Minnesota. Minnesota's got Kirk Cousins, and I think Brady could probably do well in Minnesota. It's a dome. He's got great offensive weapons, great defensive weapons. Kirk Cousins doesn't know how to use that stuff. Kirk Cousins I hope he does well. I don't wish anyone bad, but I mean, Kirk Cousins, we'll see what happens today. The guy's just off and on. I don't know with that guy. But I mean, I think Brady up there, just like Peyton Manning, I think he can win a championship in Minnesota. I think if he goes to San Diego, nah, I don't think so. Indianapolis, nah, I don't think so. I think like if he went to Minnesota or something like that, yeah, I think he could win. Those other teams, I think he's just. I mean, I don't know how many of you have seen. I mean, I'm a little older. I've seen like a lot of these older players go to different teams. It just never, pans out well for them. Eli Manning. Now I'm putting this on tape. Okay, I'm putting this on tape. Eli Manning goes to New England. That's what I'm predicting. Eli Manning is going to be the starting QB. At least, I don't know for how many games, but he is going to go to New England and start in New England. I'm telling you, that's where he's going. And they're going to draft a QB and train him behind Eli. And Eli's got half a year or a year. I'm telling you, Eli Manning is going to New England. My other choice with New England is Andrew Luck. I think Andrew Luck is going to come back and play for New England too. So I think either Manning or Luck are going to New England. That is my prediction. I mean, Andrew Luck just quit. It doesn't make any sense. I think he quit because he didn't want to be in with the Colts anymore. And I think he's going to go to New England. Now, if that happens, everyone who said the Patriot dynasty is over are going to be shaking their heads because it's going to go on for another 10 years. But I think the NFL likes this idea of the Patriot dynasty. It sells tickets. It keeps people interested. So my prediction is either Eli Manning or Andrew Luck are going to be the starting QB up in New England. That's my prediction. And Tom Brady, he's going to go out to San Diego. I mean, I wish he would go to Minnesota. I don't think he's going to be going to Minnesota, though. I mean, I think that if Minnesota was smart, they would eat the cap money with Kirk Cousins and just put him in a backup role, or just get rid of him or trade him, whatever you got to do with him, and get Tom Brady for 1 year, and you might win a Super Bowl. Kirk Cousins is not going to win you a Super Bowl. I mean, I hope he does. I mean, I think that he's a good guy. I think, he's an okay guy. I have nothing against Kirk Cousins. I just don't think he's going to do it. I think Tom Brady might be able to pull that one off for the people up in Minnesota. But right now, everything's up in flux. But I think the funniest thing would be is if Andrew Luck goes to New England. I think that would be absolutely hilarious. And all these people saying the dynasty is over. It's going to be like the Empire Strikes Back. Bill Belichick is the emperor, with his little hat like this. One of those things. He gets Andrew Luck, man. They're gonna get close to the championship for sure. I'll just laugh. My proverbial head off on that one. But like I said, it was it was a little sad to see the Patriots lose. Whether you'll love them or hate them, I love them and hate them at the same time. I just wish they'd be a little more joyful about the whole thing. I don't care if people get sad when they lose, but geez, you've won so much. I mean, come on. Have a heart, okay? You should be thankful for what you've accomplished. Like, a lot of people don't remember how bad Boston was. I mean, back when I grew up, Boston was like a laughing stock for like baseball and football and even hockey. Now, I think the Bruins won. The Boston Red Sox did well, and now New England, the Patriots did well. Oh, gee, I mean, New England should be really happy. They're getting kind of like what New York fans used to be. It was like overconfident and gloating, like all the time. Man, back in the old days, New England was like kind of like a sad story all the time. They never could win anything, and it was kind of like a heartbroken area as far as sports were concerned, except for the Celtics. I mean, the Celtics would win, right? But they should be really happy. But you see you see some of these analysts going, New England better prepare for years of losses, years of losing. I'm like, oh, geez, give the guys a break. I don't think it's going to be years of losing. Although you look at some of these teams like Buffalo, I mean, they just got playoffs they haven't won since 1994. I'm like, whoa. And Jim Kelly was like, he ruled the AFC for all those years. And the Buffalo Bills never even won a championship. So, I mean, it's kind of like, I really don't know. But, geez, I was half awake when the game went on. My internet TV, the one I have doesn't have Channel 2, so I couldn't record. I have NFL Network, so, I mean, I can go back and I can watch it or whatever. But, man, I was like waking up, going to sleep, waking up. I was like, rah, rah, rah. Then I got up like at 11. I was like, man, I'm just so tired. I crashed. I'm like, Belichick, Brady, Belichick, Brady. Oh, did they lose? Ah! But I mean, it just, it was kind of sad to see, to see them lose, and especially at home. And a lot of people, are bragging about it. And it ended, ended with a whimper instead of a bang. It was just kind of like that, But it was really interesting that Vrabel, who played with the Patriots and was traded from the Patriots, this is kind of like karma coming back to bite you in the butt, Belichick. He has this thing of trading his top players to get draft picks and everything. And he traded Vrabel, and I bet you Vrabel loved every second of it. Apparently, he was upset for a long period of time when he was just traded for no reason. And he wasn't, from what I hear, he wasn't really like the golden boy. He wasn't like groomed to be a coach. He had to work his way up through the NFL. And so it must have been a pretty satisfying win to go back to New England and be like, hey, how do you like me now? I wasn't your golden boy, and here I am. And it took a former New England player to beat and break the dynasty, right? So I find that really, really interesting that a former player who knew all the tricks, who knew Brady, and knew his tendencies and knew all that. The only other team that really beat them were the Giants in big games like that. And this game wasn't. I mean, it was a big game. It wasn't a championship game. It was a wild card game. But you wonder, why were the Giants able to beat them twice, when they met them? And now we have Vrabel come in, and he just, it was a 1-point game. I mean, man, that was tough. Very, very tough game going in there. And he was able, and I think the key part of the game, which even makes it even more hilarious and more ironic, was he used Belichick's time system against him. It was like Belichick was sitting there. And he was, Belichick had used, running down the clock and the rules against the Jets. And I don't know if he wanted it changed or whatever it was. And Vrabel's like, hey, thanks for telling me. And he cut down like almost 2 minutes off the clock. And that just put the pressure on when the ball came down. And then more importantly, that running back of theirs ran for like 200 yards. Who runs for 200 yards? I never heard of a guy running for 200 yards in a playoff game. Ever. I mean, unbelievable. And he just ran over the New England defense. I mean, just like, and they're like, wow, I guess Belichick didn't want them to pass the ball. I'm like, they got that one guy. I'm like, who else they got? I mean, I guess Belichick was like, we'll just, choose our poison, let them run the ball. It's going to take them time to score. And actually his thinking wasn't too bad. I mean, they only scored four. I mean, Tennessee only scored 14 points. It was really the New England offense that couldn't really come up with anything. And of course, the pick'em, or the sort of the wild card is the special teams, and they didn't get any turnovers. And I guess they've got one pick off of Tannehill. I was like, I was like half away. I didn't even see the interception, so I'll have to go and pick that up and see where he threw the interception. But I knew when Tennessee went down the first time, and oh no, I'm sorry, that was another game. They scored both touchdowns, and then New England, had a field goal and a touchdown, what have you. Man, that is such a close game. And you know what? A lot of people don't realize, because the New England has this reputation for being a dynasty. Most of their important games, they win by 1 point or 2 points. It's unbelievable. They have not been dominant in a lot of these games. At important games, they've won by 1 or 2 points, which really is odd for a dynasty. It's just really, really odd. I mean, you talk about like the Yankees, and they used to crush people. I mean, crush them. Even the Giants in their glory years, not against New England with Parcells, they crushed people. Like who was it? Well, they didn't crush the Bills. They crushed Denver, but like Chicago Bears, some of these games, they just overwhelmingly dominant. And New England, if you look at their record, like in the playoffs or what have you, even in Super Bowls, a lot of them are 1 or 2 points. And it's just really, really odd when you compare that to Dallas or to Pittsburgh or even to mighty, Miami Dolphins. Everyone forgets the Dolphins. I mean, these teams, they used to blow people out, even in the Super Bowls. And New England just never did that, really, which is really odd, for a dynasty, that they're not overwhelmingly superior. Now, the two teams that were really, really the best, I think, that New England ever had were the ones that played the New York Giants, the undefeated team. Man, that would have been a victory for the ages. I mean, I could see getting upset losing that game. Then they lost the game, a few years later to the Giants. Unbelievable. And, Eli Manning, they want to take him out of the Hall of Fame. But I've never – when you talk about a QB that was able to play his greatest games at the most pivotal times, it's got to be Eli Manning. I mean, you talk about Fran Tarkenton. You talk about even Aaron Rodgers and all these other guys. Yeah, they have more talent. But who played better when they had to? Now, you can say it's just luck. But, hey, when you do it twice, I don't know if it's luck. For some reason, Eli Manning in those games was able to throw two unbelievable, like the throws of his life and win those championships against the Patriots. And that's what it took to beat the Patriots, right? And just unbelievable. I mean, he beat Brady at his own game. And now that, Eli's a little down, his team is not that good, they want to take that away from him. And I'm like, dude, there's been plenty of, mediocre, I don't think Eli's mediocre. I think he's a good QB, but he hasn't been exceptional throughout the seasons, like with his win-loss record. What's exceptional is that when he's had the chance in a Super Bowl, he's won MVP twice. So, I mean, that's making the most out of your opportunity. So I don't know why they try to downgrade his talent. I mean, this guy has won twice in 2 Super Bowls against the best team at that time. So I don't see how you can downplay Eli Manning, and I'm sure Brady would just love to have those championships. And I remember those games. I mean, they were just wonderful, wonderful games. And the Giants are a weird team too. I mean, they would get hot and they would go into the playoffs. They were a 500 team. So, I mean, kind of weird. But as far as the Patriots, it was a little sad to see. But you could see it coming. And the people that are watching them lose, I mean, come on. You don't have to gloat that much. I mean, I think the Patriots were a very good dynasty, but I don't think it's over yet. I mean, if they think Bill Belichick and I think it's Robert Kraft, right? I don't think, they got something up their sleeves. And, I tell you, when Andrew Luck basically quit, okay? I was like, this is odd. I mean, like I saw a lot of like veterans. Why doesn't he just take off 6 months? Why doesn't he take off until December and tell him if he wants to go in the playoffs? Take time off. Why are you going to retire? It seemed really, really odd. And I'm like, well, where could he go? Where could he go where he wants to win? He's tired of getting beat up, slammed around. New England. I'm telling you, man, I wouldn't doubt it. I really wouldn't doubt it. And if they don't get him, I can see Eli Manning going up there, maybe playing a year or coaching the other guy. I can see Eli Manning going up there and fitting in into the scheme. Um, they're going to need somebody, and who do they? I mean, who are they going to get? Um, I forget the QB from San Diego. I mean, he's in better shape than Eli, but Bill Belichick knows Eli and was beaten by him. Okay, so if he thinks Eli has any kind of talent left, he is gonna pull in Eli. Philip Rivers, yes, with San Diego, and so I don't know. These two older QBs, are just like John Elway or Peyton Manning. They're going to go somewhere and they're going to have a shot at doing something because they're. I see. To me, Philip Rivers is still in very good physical shape. Eli Manning's been beaten up a little bit. And I think he has an arm injury. He's not throwing. He started throwing right, the last couple of games. He really did. But a lot of people forget Eli Manning is not a short passer. He's an intermediate to long passer. He's a chuck and duck guy. And when they put him in this West Coast offense, I was like, dude, what are you doing? He is not Tom Brady. So you're going to say, how is he going to fit into New England? I don't know. If anyone can remake Eli Manning over, it would be Bill Belichick and those guys. I mean, they got everything kind of planned down to a science. But the whole thing doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. Is that Edelman's the only receiver, and he still has tons of catches. But Edelman, just like before, he had some big drops in this game. And so, of course, Brady's going to take, that he's getting older. He's going to take the big loss. Edelman dropped some big passes, especially the one for the first down. If he gets a first down there, if Brady gets one, who the heck knows what happens? But, I don't understand. Like, you see the same thing with Philly, and you're going to see it later today. Like, why don't they double cover the tight ends or the one tight end, okay? It's like, he got another pass. Well, he got another pass. Oh, great design play. I'm like, dude, I played some sports, okay? I never played football in high school, but I played baseball, soccer, I played other stuff. If you're just playing, you're telling your teammate, dude, cover that guy. I don't care what the coach says. That guy's going to get the ball. So I don't really understand like how these guys keep getting the ball over and over and over again, like Edelman. Just like if New England can take your wide receiver out of the game, why can't you take their wide receiver out of the game? It doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. Which shows me like the coaching in the NFL is pretty lousy. Or the players are pretty lousy. Like, why wouldn't you just go and just say, we're just going to take Edelman out of the game? Pretty lousy. Like, why wouldn't you just go and just say, we're just going to take Edelman out of the game? We're just going to double cover him wherever he goes. I don't want to hear, they got the scheme. They got, no. Just slam two people on the line, slam them. Don't let them get off the line. What are they going to do? Who are they going to throw to? I just don't understand, what the mentality or thinking is with this. They're giving him the ball when he runs. I'm like, why don't you have a spy on him? He's the only offensive guy they have. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And you would see this with Gronkowski and all this. It's like it doesn't make any sense. And you're going to see it later today with Philly. The tight ends are going to get open. And it's just like, that's all they have. Can't you shut that down, jam them at the line or something? In any event, I'm not crying for the Patriots. I put that in the title. I'm not crying for them. I think they've had a great run. They you tip their hat to them. They've done a great thing for football. Tom Brady's been a great spokesperson for football. Bill Belichick's been a great coach. I don't know if he's been a great spokesperson for football, but I mean, as far as his personal life, but I'm saying I wish he would smile a little bit. I wish, but I mean, as far as, mentoring his coaches and doing those things, he's been a great mentor to a lot of people, to the organization, to all those people. He's never been in trouble with anything. They say Deflategate and all that other kind of stuff. I don't know. I was reading a little bit today about some of the cheating, and the other teams are cheating a little bit too. I don't know. I don't. If I knew everything that went through the league office, then I could say something about it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's just that, it was a little sad anyway to see it end the way it did. And you kind of think that maybe it would have been better for Brady to retire when he won the Super Bowl. Maybe it would have been better last year just to ride off into the sunset. Michael Strahan did that with the Giants, and I think, but Brady has this will. He wants to play until he's 45, and that's what he's doing. He's going to keep playing and playing, and that's his goal. And I wish him luck. I really do wish him luck. I mean, I just hate to see any player get hurt. For what? What do you got to prove? I mean, at this point. But that's how athletes are. They have to prove it. They got to keep motivating themselves. And so I wish Brady luck. I think the real sad part of this, maybe the saddest part of the Patriots dynasty, is how it's ending right now. When you think of Vince Lombardi and Bart Starr, they loved each other like father and son. And now you see Brady and Belichick, and there's a break there. There's a break, okay? There's a break. And Kraft let Brady come back, but you see this break. And they were at the table the other day, like an NFL Network, doing some, 100-year thing or something like that. And they were talking to each other and giving each other compliments and stuff. But I think the saddest part of this dynasty is going to be this breakup at the end. And sometimes it's inevitable. And a lot of people forget Joe Montana and Bill Walsh. How I remember that play, and I'm old enough to remember the play because I was a Giant fan when Joe Montana used to kill the Giants. He used to come back and beat them. He was doing another rally, and I remember when Leonard Marshall plowed. I mean, he just launched himself into the back of Joe Montana, full steam, with a running start, blindside. And Joe Montana got smashed and went right to the ground. And I remember he had fractured ribs, he had a bruised kidney. It was so sad to see that happen to such a great human, great athlete. I don't know about a human being, but he seems a pretty nice guy, a great person, and a great athlete. I mean, quite frankly, better than Phil Simms. He was just that team. The 49ers were a great team, and he got hit. He was out for 2 years. I mean, he was hit bad. And then Steve Young came in. And remember, Joe Montana went off to Kansas City, and he hated Bill Walsh. And Bill Walsh also quit at that time because the guy, Dwight Clark had to be let go, and all these other guys had to be let go. And so people forget about that. I'm just reminded of that right now. All dynasties end. And we just have to look back and give them a salute and wish them luck and thank them for the memories. And so New England, Brady, Belichick, I want to thank you for the memories. And maybe it's not over. Andrew Luck may be coming, New England. Pray for it. I'll see you guys later on the flip side. Take care. Bye-bye.